Hello and welcome folks to Agathos Flight School. Finally I managed to record some nice real life footage flying the de Havilland Chipmunk. Nothing went wrong with the action cam, and so we now have a nice view over the nose and you can see the takeoff and flying. I have decided to run this video in full length from the point I started to taxi after the engine was warmed up, so you get a feeling for real life operations of these planes today that are quite different for those of you that only fly online to the procedures given in most flight simulations. What can I say about the de Havilland Chipmunk? I personally really like this plane. For anyone into World War II aviation, I think the Chippy is one of the best ways to get a feeling for the World War II fighters, because even though it is only a trainer and only has about 145 horsepower, it has everything that a World War II fighter has. You sit in the middle, directly behind the prop. It is a tail dragger, and from the simple look of the and feel of the interior, it's something like a mini fighter. And so, if you have the opportunity close to you, where some oldtimer club is operating a Chipmunk, I would advise you just take a hop in it. It should not be that expensive, and you will have a feeling that comes very close to flying a real World War II fighter. Not as fast and not as powerful, but the smell and feeling is very much the same. While we are here taxiing down to the run-up position or at the airfield, I would like to point out some very interesting feature of the Chipmunk's brake system. The braking system of the Chipmunk does not work via toe brakes, but it works via a braking lever on the left side of the cockpit and the rudder pedals together. Using the lever, you pressurize the braking system. This means if you pull the braking lever back, you will add more braking pressure, and so you have the ability to stop the plane or hold the plane while running up. But additionally, if you go into the right or left rudder, more of that braking pressure is directed to the cornering wheel brake. So for instance, if you give full right rudder and will have not pulled the braking lever at all, at the utmost full right rudder position, you will get some braking pressure on the right wheel and the same on the left. And the more pressure you give it to the braking system by pulling the lever back, the earlier you will have this pressure directed to one side. Once you get used to it, it's quite a pretty nice system of steering the plane on the ground. But it has one drawback I always find, because you can only have one hand on the braking lever, and it's the same hand you usually need for the throttle. You actually would need one more hand, I often have the feeling. But while operating the Chipmunk in close situations, you just let go the stick and use both the right hand and the left hand, one on the braking lever and the other on the throttle. But as you can see here, while I taxi down to the run-up position, if you are used to it, you can really steer the plane good on the ground. And so here now I'm in the run-up position. I turn the plane into the wind so that during run-up I don't have side wind. Now I signal that guy in the car that I will stay here and he can pass. This is also something in real life operations you must always take care of. It might not be so so important in the Chipmunk with its low horsepower engine, but if operating planes like a Steerman or a Super Steerman or a T6 or then the more powerful warbirds, you will also have to keep an eye on what is behind you or you will blow that away. What now happens, the car has passed and I now prepare my run-up checklist. This in the Chipmunk contains checking the max. And one important thing here is I have to set the brake lever. And now I run up the engine to about 1800 RPM and check for the Mach drop. Additionally, I will check the carburetor heat, which is located on the right side of the cockpit. And after that is done, I will throttle back and check if the idle RPM is correct. This works out and the engine runs pretty smooth, so now I go for the pre-takeoff checklist and prepare everything for takeoff. Looking if the controls are free, that the flaps are in, I have enough space on the runway, that I did not miss anything, that the mixture is full rich, carburetor heat is off. Not very much in the Chipmunk to do it. It does not have a constant speed propeller, so you just have throttle and mixture control. What I can say about the view angle you have, the camera is attached to my forehead. You have a slightly better angle than me. My eye line is about 5 to 6 centimeters below the camera, and so if you look out and you see the runway, it might well be that I don't see the runway. What now happens is I have finalized all the checks, everything's alright, but someone has given through on the radio that he's on final, and so I wait before he lands. And this is one thing also in real life operations. I'm not often at the airfield here. I take the Chipmunk from, and so what when the other guy radioed he's in the final, what I did miss was two things. First, the final on this airfield is very, very long. So you can see here, I in reality could see the plane, but the camera resolution is not good enough, so you see him too. And the second thing I missed was that the guy in the final is an ultralight with a very slow speed, and we had pretty strong headwinds with some gusts here, and so his ground speed was even lower. I think the headwind was about 10 to 15 knots, and if you see this ultralight has an approach speed of roughly 55 knots. His ground speed was down to 40 knots, and so his final approach took very long, which just gave me the time to sit around and prepare for the takeoff. But it's also important here, in real life operations I'm playing it normally defensively, not aggressively, so when I notice this will take longer than I thought, I won't hurry for the takeoff, but simply stay calm and wait till he's down. So now I position myself so I can go onto the runway, which is also important. I'm not sure if you really can see this here. This is an interesting airfield which has a part which is paved and some other parts fore and aft of the airstrip that are grass. But because of the headwind, I decided to start the roll on the paved runway, because this has also 600 meter paved runway, and this is more than enough for the Chipmunk in normal operations, and so I don't need the additional 150 meter of grass runway. I did this simply because if I have the paved runway from the beginning and don't roll over the part where the grass goes into the paved, my horizon picture will not change. And so there you see, he comes in for the landing. In my opinion, he's landing a bit long, because he should have been lower here, but probably just a flight instructor with his pupil, and so he's down. and makes a touch and go. And when I see him take off and leaving the runway, I roll on. And what's important in the Chipmunk, when I throttle up, I have to check again if the engine reaches at least 2000 RPM, which is takeoff power. And I will have to get the tail up to have to be able to see ahead. In this view, I see it. My perspective from the cockpit is a little bit worse. I see less of the horizon. From the action cam, you actually see very good. And here you already see after a short run, the Chipmunk is airborne, and I'm climbing. Climb speed for the Chippy is around 70 knots. And its climb rate with just one pilot and without a passenger is roughly 700 to 800 feet per minute. And so on. I'm now climbing on, and then turning to the right to leave the pattern. I will just let you enjoy this even more. What's also important here in those old-timers is that you always go through your emergency briefing beforehand. You should do that in any general aviation flight, but it's very important with those old planes, because sometimes with today's operations along taxiway, it might be more likely on one of these planes that your engine fails because of fuel spark plugs, and so you really need to have your emergency briefing at hand and need to know where you can go down. On the right side you are now seeing the airfield, and I'm climbing away from it for a nice little weekend transfer flight in this beautiful airplane, and we will see us again here with the landing procedures. Bye bye, and always happy landings, your Agathos.